Hello, everyone. Ted Clayton here. I Hate Big and Tall Men, this series. This is a flashback. This is something that happened a few years ago. I want to say about 5 years ago. And even to this day, I don't know what caused this incident to happen. Now, I can do abductive reasoning. I can see certain points and put them together, but even those points, it is really me speculating, but it's the only thing that makes sense. Again, it was a few years ago. There was someone that I was interested in working with. It's this big and tall man, big and tall guy that I knew from the fine art community here in New York City, the experimental music community here in New York City. And I believe, just to put this out there, I believe this gentleman was Georgian. I hope I'm saying that correctly, from the country of Georgia, Eastern European. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I believe so. So this gentleman was from Georgia. And I was trying to build some rapport with him. I saw him here and there, but it wasn't until I saw them at one performance out in Union Avenue in Brooklyn. Anybody who knows the area knows what I'm talking about. There's this place called Littlefield. I believe that was the name of the place. I'm giving just a little background. So I came there out of my own volition to show support, but also be a little more active, more vocal about how I want to work with this gentleman. So coming there, showing support, and following up. Then probably going to the next show, or then following up on social media, whatever. But what I was doing at that time, I was putting together events and functions. So I was showing people that how serious I was. I would put myself out there. I would take that time to get to know people and go and support them. Not just say it, but go put my money where my mouth is. All right. Now, one important note that I do want to emphasize on this, where when I first met this gentleman, or at that event, was that I started to befriend his wife. Now, that is not to imply anything. I found myself just talking with her, just networking, small talking, chit chat with people, and then she said that she's his wife. So, but there was a connection there, not implicating anything, but it seemed we just got along. So we kept talking, and I told her about myself, and she wanted to get to know me as well. And again, it's more from a professional standpoint, right? It's, hey, I kind of like what this guy's talking about. I like his vibe. Let's hear him out. I'll get to know him. I'll let you. I got to know him. You can trust this guy, or whatever the case may be. All right, so I go there. Fast forward a couple months later. I don't know, 6 months later. It probably could have even been a year later, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's about 6 months later. This gentleman posts an event on Facebook. It was a concert that they were doing in their apartment. Now, they posted on Facebook. I guess you can say that this is one of those things where people want to invite, but you don't accept the invitation. And again, this was an open invitation on Facebook, but it wasn't like for specific people. And again, like I was saying, we became friends on Facebook, where, like, me and this gentleman were liking each other's comments and things like that. So I'm thinking, oh, there's a rapport there. Now, yes, of course, over time, not only about how duplicitous people can be, we're not going to go there, but in terms of etiquette, you're not supposed to you're supposed to try to use your best judgment in situations, right? But this was something I felt where, okay, at that time, and still now, it's an open invitation. It's a performance, a musical performance, more of an intimate feel, but of a musical performance, and there's going to be other people there. So, if anything, there's going to be that, you could say, that protection of other people that will keep me in check, right? Because even though it's an intimate environment, there's going to be the quote-unquote audience that can keep me in check, right? And then again, we have that rapport, so I'm coming in with that from that angle. Okay. And that happened to me on another situation where I I took an invitation and I didn't feel welcome there, or it was awkward when I got there. But we won't get into that. Maybe it's because people start to get to know who you are when they talk to you. Could be the height thing where it's like, oh, you know, I feel weird around the short guy, or whatever the case may be. But just to keep it general, it's probably just an invite that you're not supposed to take. But again, looking at the situation, I don't really feel there's anything like that. I don't think it was that serious or that closed off. Okay, so I go to this party, and this guy does the most flagrant thing I could imagine. And again, this guy's a big guy. I would say maybe like 6'2", somewhere like 250. I mean, really big guy. Now, his leg was broken. He had some issue with his ankle or something. He was out of commission for like a year. I forgot what it is. It was a long time ago, but he had some serious issues. I think he fell down some steps, maybe, Carmen. I don't know. I don't know what the deal with that is. But I say that in jest. But he had some serious issues with his leg, and he was out of commission for a while. And even from talking with them then, in the foreseeable future, they're thinking, I'm going to be out of. I don't know when I'm going to heal. This is not like the doctor says, put this cast on for a couple months and that's that. But anyhow, just putting that out there for context. So I go there, and what this guy does is we start getting into a smoking session. It's an intermission, quote unquote, and it's all in his apartment. This is out in Prospect Avenue I think it's on the Q line, the yellow line. So it's around that area. Kind of hipster kind of area, hip area, but still modernizing. Not modernizing. What's the word? In development, right? But there's still some pockets there. And I've been there before a long time, way longer than that, but way before that, where I knew someone that was an audio engineer that was living out there with his model girlfriend. And they had a nice place. But once you step out and just take the corner, it's the hood. So something like that. Okay. We had an intermission. We start smoking, and this guy blows smoke in my face. Now let me explain. So I come in to the apartment, and the guy seemed a little shocked, but I didn't feel any kind of awkwardness. Maybe I couldn't tell, or I wasn't reading the room right, but I didn't feel any kind of serious awkwardness. I did feel like there were some people that were less approachable than others, but then there were some people that were more approachable than others, right? So again, that's what I was saying with even at that time, knowing just basic etiquette, where if I'm going to put myself in a situation like that with a bunch of strangers in a intimate environment, right, per se, I'm still going to create that distance or be aware of any boundaries, right? Okay. So the performance goes on, and again, it's in the apartment, so it's very, very relaxed, very chill. People are drinking beer, things like that. And there's an intermission. Now, in the intermission, I want to say this guy had 2 bedrooms. So in one bedroom, it was his art studio, because what this guy also did was he did paintings, and then he did music, experimental music, stuff on Ableton, things like that, Max. Anybody who knows these programs, you know exactly what type of stuff I'm talking about. All new age experimental stuff. I love it. So he has his room dedicated for that. And then there's the master bedroom, right? So everyone goes into okay, hold on, low power mode, just give me 1 second. Just because I want to see myself properly. Okay. So everyone goes into that room, the art room, for all intents and purposes. They go into this room. Now, I am still in the living room. I'm trying to, and you could say at this time, I'm still not really hip to, again, how duplicitous some people could be. So I'm putting myself out there, but maybe a tad bit desperate, or just a bit, but not that much, where I'm trying to just get to know everyone, but then people are not really being receptive. At the same time, I was also at a point where I wasn't afraid to give them a taste of their own medicine. So if someone wasn't talking with me, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry to disturb you. Walk away. Do something like that. Just notice it quickly, right? I started talking with this one girl. Now, I'm putting this out there, but I don't think this is part of it, but it could be. I'm just going to put it out there. I started talking with this one girl. Everyone there is white, so let's just put this out there. There's one guy who I really clicked with. I want to say he's Hispanic, but one of those people who's Hispanic, but more categorizes more as white. Like, I'm Hispanic, but Puerto Rican. But then there's Hispanics that they're just, like, I don't want to name any groups or anything like that, but it gets, like, real complicated. But there's certain groups that categorize more as white. But not European, not Spanish. Okay, so there was that guy. Or maybe he could have been Hispanic or Latino. Latinx, as they say now. But anyhow, he was a drummer. Him and I, we clicked. And he seemed like a guy that was from the street. So I think that was one of the things. Like, every one of these people were just like, maybe not rich, but, they were a little disconnected, right? But this guy seemed like he was from the street. Like, he was a little hood, right? Okay, but that was that. And I'm sitting there in the couch, and there was this girl that sat right next to me. Very pretty, very pretty. And we started talking. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't escalate to anything intimate. But we did start to hit it off. We had a lot of things in common. We started to get into a conversation. And what I started talking to her about now, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. What I shared with her was that I was conservative. Now, before I get into that, before I get into how that plays a part, let me just have a side note. At that time, that's when I was starting to explore more alternative information, right? Everything was all new to me, right? So I took on that label, but I actually, if I were to think now, I think I'm actually more liberal because of where I come from. I come from New York City, so I'm actually probably liberal, but more of a classical liberal, and not independent. But if I had to take a side, I would say classical liberal because of where I'm from. But maybe you can argue conservative because I'm black, so most black people are conservative by nature, and then also Puerto Rican. I have a lot of family that are, by definition, Republican. But I would say, grew up in the South Bronx, went to school at NYU, worked all my life in the creative field in the city, NYC. So I was consider myself more of a liberal, but classical liberal. But again, I said conservative. And I remember the look on this girl's face. It wasn't, she like glowed. She looked at me and she said, really? And it wasn't that averse reaction. It was the kind of like, you're sharing a secret that you're not supposed to share, but someone is delighted to hear that. It's like, oh wow, like really? Oh, I didn't think there were really any of those types around. Like, wow, a rarity. You get what I'm saying? Like what's the word? An anomaly. Like, oh wow, a conservative in New York City. Wow, tell me more. And again, I felt this genuinely. So we just started talking, whatever, just small talk. But that was that. Now, I say that, but I don't know if that really had a stake in this. I'm not sure. Now, the next thing I think may have, and I'm making a huge leap, but again, this is how I felt. Okay. Let me just go on with the story because I wanted to put another fact out there, but I don't want to I don't want to confuse anyone. I'm sure people are following along, but I don't want to just put details all over the place. Okay. I decide to, everyone basically, like I was one of the last people to make their way into that art room to whatever everyone was doing. And, when you look back at it, it's kind of like I wasn't invited into the art room. So, you start to see those kind of, those clues. But I'm also looking at it as, which is the best way, looking at it neutrally, which is, well, I'm here and I'll make my way in time. But the host is supposed to really do that. We're not gonna split hairs about that. Okay. So I go in there and people start smoking, start passing it around. One cipher, two cipher, three ciphers are smoking, we're laughing, and I'm staying reserved, but, throwing a joke here and there, but, just staying reserved. Again, like I said, I started to feel a little out of place, but not that much, because again, it was the host wasn't really welcoming, but I started to, I had a connection with some people, so it was just this weird dynamic, right? But again, just feeling a little off, and then also just strangers, just being reserved, right? When things changed, and again, I can't prove this, but this is how I felt. When things changed, the turning point was when this girl walked in. Not the girl that I was talking to, this other girl walked in, and everyone there was Gen X. I believe, yeah, everyone there was Gen X, but not that much older than me. At most, about 5 years older than me. Most 5 years older than me. There was this girl that walked in, and she was so hot. And she made eye contact with me, which already is like, that's already like progress, which is like, wow, I'm not ignored. Does that mean you're going anywhere with her? No, absolutely not. But they acknowledge you, which is like, whoa, and I can feel a shift when things like that happen, right? So she comes in, and you felt the energy change in that room. Everyone puts their attention to her, and she wasn't dressing revealing at all. She had very modest clothing, but she was just so hot, right? Very attractive woman. So she comes in, and I was telling myself in my head, I was like, I got to talk to this girl just to shoot my shot, but just to talk, to say that I tried, just to see where I can go, right? See if I can get and make any progress, right? And build rapport, but see if I can make any progress, see where it goes. Now that didn't happen, right? We're smoking, and then it's me and the drummer. Remember the drummer that I mentioned from earlier? It's me, and then the drummer, he's to my left. The guy who I came to see, right? The big and tall guy, he stood right in front of me. He has this a crutch, right? He has this crutch, he smokes, he inhales, he turns and looks at me dead in my face, and he blows this big plume of smoke in my face. And gives me this look, this just serious look, like not a like a nasty look, but just like this blank, deadpan look. And I'm totally just like in shock. I was frozen in place because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what just happened? And again, more so because there wasn't any context. So I'm just thinking like, what? Now the context maybe is that girl walked in, she made eye contact with me, maybe it threw everything off, the dynamics, but that's what I'm thinking. That's the leap that I'm making. Or maybe it could have been another girl that I was talking to. She shared what I shared with her with the other guy. Maybe, I don't know. One of those two, or maybe I just wasn't invited and he was just messing with me. I don't know. I personally think it was the girl that walked in the room, and it was just, now that the tension came on me, and I think you guys see where I'm going with this. And I remember he did this, this big plume, it was like a cartoon, this big plume of smoke, it just blew it in my face. And I'm at a loss of words. I was still in place because I just did not know what was going on. And I looked to my left, where was a Hispanic guy, and he looks at me, he gives me a look of like, well, that's that. Sort of like, well, guess you're not wanted. Guess you're not in the club. But sad. With a sad disposition, not like, like, oh, well, that sucks. I was hoping you'd make it. Guess not. Sorry, man. Yeah, you know how these people roll. And I just, what was more confusing was putting it together. Because again, if it was just even something that didn't make sense, but it made sense to the other person, then it's just like, well, that's what they said. This is my position. This is just purely speculation on my end. And I just have to go strictly on intuition. So that was that. And once, actually, let me share some other stuff real quick. It actually just came to mind. That was that. Sun coming out, NYC. It's about noon right now. Great day so far. A lot of birds right here in front of me. A lot of pigeons here in front of me. Enjoying the sun also. I don't want to forget these facts. So afterwards, I'm feeling uncomfortable. So I say, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I grabbed another beer. I said, forget these people. I grabbed another beer, drank it, chugged it down, and just got out of there. Was polite, said goodbye to everyone, and made my way out. After that, on Facebook, we're still friends because with these people, they'll still stay friends with you on Facebook, but they won't really engage with you. So we still were friends on Facebook, but then I started getting into. Let me actually back up. Let me stop right there. So again, major point that I mentioned in the beginning that I didn't bring up. Excuse me. Remember, I brought up his wife, that we had good rapport. His wife was not at that function. She was not at the event that day. And I remember from that concert, way back when, I was actually hanging out with her for so long. Like, I was actually just tethered to this woman because we just started clicking. We started talking about a bunch of stuff. And she was digging me because it was just like, man, you just sound like, you got a lot of things going on. You got a lot of ideas. I would say, like, it was almost like that was just like my right hand or something, at that moment in time. Like you're kind of just, you just kind of partnered up with somebody in a certain event. It's just like, it's just me and this person, you know what I'm saying? We're vibing together. It was like that, but I just met this person. And then when we're talking, when people are coming along and introducing themselves, it's almost like they're introducing themselves, or she's introducing them to me, and then she's laying things down like, oh, no, this person, they're from this. So we really started getting along, but she was not at this event. And I feel like that guy would not have acted the way he acted if she was there. Now, she could have maybe had a change of heart also, but also the rapport we had, I don't think he would have behaved in such a manner if she was there. So what was the last thing I wanted to say? Last thing is, as time went on, again, like I said, we were friends on Facebook. They didn't unfriend me, so you know how that goes. People just get weird. But I started getting into my trolling phase. Now, when I say trolling, yes, I mean trolling, but I'm a respectful troll. I don't hit below, I don't hit under the belt. But I do remember one thing, and this was kind of, I guess, where it leveled the playing field. I would even say I came up on this one. I got my just due on this one. This guy posted this picture, which I thought was so dumb. Again, big and tall guy, right? He is taking this picture, some Brooklynite. Okay, another low battery warning. Okay, about to wrap this up. He posts a picture of him going to the beach, and he has boots on. Big and tall guy with boots on, and all black, in the beach. Like, I'm so cool, And I remember, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said, like, dude, WTF, why do you have boots on? I made fun of him, but I didn't say it like that. Like, I didn't pose that as a question. I was just like, yo, you look crazy, man. Like, but again, respectful, but just like, yo, man, you look weird. Like, why are you wearing boots in the beach? And his response was, I remember this, shut your mouth. Now, a couple hours go by, someone likes my comment. And I'm like, oh, interesting. I look, and this is older woman. Remember I said this guy was Georgian? From Georgia, right? I look at who the person is, and all I saw was just Eastern European, just writing, just whatever that language is, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, that might be his mother. And I think she probably agrees with me that he looks like a fool. So anyway, that's that. Just sharing another instance of this. It is what it is, but you gotta roll with the punches, but also you gotta kind of level the playing field. You know what I'm saying? You gotta level things out because it gets disrespectful, and more so, you have to make sure people know who you are. Forget about that person. They're already in their own consciousness. They got their own perspective on things. This is for everybody else. They're gonna see the real ones. They're gonna see, hey man, this guy was out of line, but how did you handle it? So that's how it goes. Anyway, battery's gonna run out. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day.